before we get started, I just want to say no. You wasn't doing that before we went to the started the intro. I'm gonna say no.
I forgot mine.
No. What up?
All right, I'm done.
Welcome to the Left Game, the average man perspective on football. I am your co-host Marcus. Joining me on the panel tonight is Herman. Say what up, Herman.
What episode is it?
Oh, 145. My bad. The Left Game episode 145. You saw the intro. You know what it is. You see the
I just for the people, you know.
Yeah, the people would like to know.
Right.
Next up, we got Brian. Say what up, Brian.
Thank you for joining us.
Don't jinx it, Herman.
I'm the one selling the records. They coming to see me. They coming to see the Temptations. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
And now everybody get the real tell because we ain't had this one working in a while. And last but never least is Mark. Say what up, Mark.
Good evening.
No.
Mark, you want me to say it for you? You want me to say it, Mark? You want me to do it?
Here we go.
You want me to do that?
Before we get started, I want to apologize for all the people watching. For all the buffoonery and nonsense we about to happen in this episode, and these annoying fans. So I just want to, if you have to tune out, I understand. I won't hold it against you. You got better things to do to listen to these two fools brag about a game that wasn't even in the postseason. But before we get started, I want to encourage everyone to like, share, and subscribe. Especially if you watch on YouTube, you can join us on Facebook group and our Facebook group, The Left Game. We're on Twitter /X at The Left Game 3, on Instagram at the official Delay of Game. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. Brian is hosting tonight. Go ahead and start us off, Brian.
All right, everybody. Again, thank you for joining us. This is going to be a memorable show.
No,
a lot of good games was played last Sunday. Some great especially ones. A lot of great games. Well, good games and then one great game. So we'll definitely dive into that one.
Yeah, that BLSU game was something.
Long time.
No, he won't. Not no more with it.
Before we get started with that, we do have to do our news and notes, and then we're going to do our hot topics, and then we'll delve into the meat of this episode. So we'll start Marcus off with the first news of the week.
Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert's 2023 campaign is officially over. The star signal caller is undergoing surgery to repair the broken index finger on his right throwing hand and will miss the rest of the season. NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport, Mike Garofalo, and Tom Pelissero reported, per sources informed of the situation. The team later placed Herbert on injury reserve. LA also activated wideout Josh Palmer off IR and signed rookie quarterback Max Duggan to the active roster. Is that the dude?
Do you not listen to the NFL Network?
I'm reading, sir.
Garofalo.
Look, we know, but this show, we know we mess up names. Okay?
No, that's not something we want to be known for.
We mess up names, okay?
Okay.
Bakerfield, DeMarco Murray, whoever else.
J-Lo.
J-Lo. Yeah,
J-Lo. Stop.
It was the expected news after Herbert suffered the injury in Sunday's loss to Denver Broncos, but it underscores a traumatic Chargers season. Basically, a traumatic losing season.
Why is that dude still there?
Who?
Why is that dude still there?
Staley?
I Kellen Moore still there.
Yes. Well, this is.
I think I might have to finally admit. Y'all was right.
Fine.
Y'all was right. I had to finally admit. Y'all was right about Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore might be a smart play designer. Maybe. I'm questionable about that. He don't understand the flow of football games.
Yeah. Because he doesn't get a flow. He doesn't set up plays for another play to work or nothing. It's just a sheet. He's calling it.
Because Justin Herbert is barely scoring points, and Dak Prescott is having an MVP season. So I guess I got to admit you Bama's was right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Herman, what story you got for us?
All right. So Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes regrets his irate response to the officials flagging Kadarius Toney's offsides in Sunday's loss to Buffalo. Wednesday, the MVP quarterback said the emotions of the moment got the best of him, and he is particularly disappointed in his interaction with Bills quarterback Josh Allen after the contest, where cameras caught Mahomes complaining to his counterpart about the call. And we'll get into this a little bit more later on.
Yeah, because that joke got me heated. All right, I will take the next story, and that is congratulations to the New York Jets and Giants quarterbacks for winning AFC and NFC Players of the Week. Zach Wilson threw for 300 yards, had a QBR of 117.9, and Tommy DeVito Cutlets threw 158 yards and had a QBR of 113.9. Job well done, fellas.
He won NFC Player of the Week off of throwing for 158 yards?
Yes.
What?
Yes. He did. I think he did rush for like 79 more yards, but yeah, I don't know.
First of all, his name is Dane DeVito. We call him Dane DeVito here. We call him Dane.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dane.
No words.
Mark, what story you got so we can get into these hot topics?
All right, last story I got for you is the infamous tush push or brotherly shove, as the Philadelphia Eagles have called it, was rumored to be subject to discussion among the NFL Competition Committee for potential ban. NFL head of football official Troy Vincent Sr. denied that that's the case. During the league meeting Wednesday, that was false. Vincent told Sports Illustrated Albert Breer, this play has involved. Other teams have tried to match the success rate of the Eagles with this play, but just hasn't been the same. So it's still going to be on display probably for next year too, because it's not going to be banned.
Yeah. I kind of agree with it. It is a play. They were trying to say like it was like people were getting hurt on it, but it's not run that much. They were saying that where it's that much of a deficit where it would cause people to get angry, and until people learn to stop it.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, just keep running until people learn how to stop it.
So I'm going to just counter that and say, if that's legal, then why is it banned to push a player in the back when you're trying to field goal?
Well, they don't.
You said push a player in the back when you're trying to block a field goal.
It's banned. You cannot get behind one of your defensive linemen and push him to help him get through the line. So what's the difference?
That's a different scenario. That's why.
No, it's not. It's the same situation.
It's an advantage. It's an advantage for offense, but a disadvantage for defense.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the key. And then I don't take credit for that because I heard Richard Sherman talking about that. And if you ban one thing, you have to ban the other one.
It's a legitimate argument. That's a legitimate argument.
It is. It's a very legitimate argument.
All the NFL defensive players need to do is go talk to somebody that plays rugby because they got that from rugby. So however rugby players learn how to stop it, let's just stop it and then we can do it.
Also, another reason I have to ban it is not everybody's successful running it. Okay.
Yeah, very few are. Very few are.
Everybody, it's the act of what you're doing. And like again, if it's banned on field goals and punts, I believe also, it should be banned on these quarterback sneaks. It just should. It's the same situation. You're using it as the pushes gives you an advantage to it.
So if that's the case, when the Bills line just pushed Josh Allen like 6 yards into the end zone, do you think that should be banned as well?
No, I think that's a little different. Actually, what's funny is that's a rule. You can push a player, but you can't pull them. So see, the NFL's got these stupid rules that they need to think about, because I think that's how that goes. Like, you can push a player. That's allowed to an extent, but you actually can't be in front of the player pulling them. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? They should ban all that. I mean, I don't know. But in a scrum like that, it's a little different. That's what I think. I feel like that's a little different. But when walking right the line of scrimmage, if you're gonna ban it on field goals and punts, it should be banned on the offensive side for quarterback sneaks.
How about teams just learn how to stop it? How about that? Let's just do that.
Yeah, once teams learn how to stop it, then it'll be better. It's just almost like 99% or 97% effective right now.
But again, think
only
about
with the Eagles.
You could help push a defensive lineman through the line to block a punt. Why did they ban it there, but they won't ban it on the offensive side of the ball? That's
Hey,
all. I like an explanation of that.
Because it's all about offense. It's all about offense.
Hey, you see a player try to jump it. What's that? The spike, right?
Leverage.
Yeah.
What they call it. What they call
They
leverage.
need to divide a way to jump on it on the push. That's what they would need to do. They need to find a way to do it.
Because that's another thing. Like if you even remotely like you try to jump over a guy and you just touch him a little bit or touch him at all, they call him leverage on you. They're saying that you have an advantage. So it's the same thing on the offensive side of the ball. It's like you got to be consistent both sides of the ball. That's the thing.
It's the NFL. They ain't got to be consistent. They're never consistent.
That's very true, but
they're never consistent.
All right, good job, gentlemen. Now let's get into these. Let's get into these hot topics. The first hot topic we have on the ballot is which fan base should be more worried about their team that was in the Super Bowl last year. Of course, we know it was Kansas City and Philadelphia, where Kansas City came out on top. So these two teams, Philadelphia has a 2-game losing streak. We all talked about, we're going to talk a little more about how Kansas City just lost to the Buffalo Bills. Mr. Parker, how do you feel about this situation? Which team is in more trouble?
I'm going to have to say really both teams are in trouble, but I think the ones that's probably going to be in more dire need or the most saddest fan base will probably be the Eagles. For them to make it all the way to the Super Bowl and really their quarterback nearly outplayed the quarterback for the opposite team, I think Philly is probably going to be the one that the fan base is going to be the most disappointing. The chances are they may not get there with the way they're playing right now. And looking at how San Francisco smashed them the last couple of weeks, that's not something promising to look forward to in the playoffs. So I'm gonna have to say Philly. Kansas City still runs a small risk because they're in jeopardy of not even getting a home game for the playoffs. They might be on the road for the first time. And it's crazy to say, Mahomes have never played a playoff game outside of Kansas City. He never had to. That's wild. So the chances are he may not be able to enjoy that at his home stadium. But I think the Philly fans are probably going to be the most disappointed because how far they got last year, and I find it hard to believe they'd be back in it again. So I'm gonna say Philly fans are going to be the worst.
Okay, so the question was most worried, not disappointed. Which team should be the most worried?
Oh, worried Philly.
Okay, so Philly should be more worried than Kansas City right now.
Philly, yeah, Philly would.
Okay. All right, I disagree with you on that one. I think that Kansas City is in more dire straits right now than the Philadelphia Eagles. Although the Eagles did look bad the last 2 weeks, they do still have everything in front of them. They basically still control their destiny for the most part. I don't know if they can still get the number 1 seed. I don't think they get the number 1 seed if Niners went out as well. But if the Niners were to stumble and Philly wins out, Philly would still get the number 1 seed. And everything that they had been looking for this season is still in front of them. Kansas City's in big trouble. Kansas City's dropped to the 30 spot. They haven't been playing well. They still have this problem with their receivers catching the ball. You can tell that the team is starting to break up more with Mahomes and his outbursts and just not being happy and breaking helmets and all these things on the sideline. So it's definitely a little more questionable on if Kansas City even can make I'll take that back. They'll make the playoffs. But if they get in the playoffs, like you said, they're going to probably have to play on the road. And will they be successful like that? So if I looked at the two teams and I had to bet money, I got my money on Philly. What do you think, Marcus?
So I know it was an either or question, but I'm going to have to say both. Philly, they've gotten blown out these last 2 games, and it's something that I called last year in the Super Bowl. Their defense is terrible. Their defense, I mean, it's really bad. It's almost as bad as the Lions defense. They've been exposed. They've been barely making it by. And unless they got to do something. They have a good front line, but if the front line can't get any pressure, they're getting carved up. And, if you're going to see San Francisco or Dallas in the playoffs, you got to do something. You can't. They're going to carve you up. Dak is having an MVP year. You got CeeDee Lamb out there. And, San Francisco, they got Purdy and Debo and McCaffrey. You're getting carved up out there. And so I just think this late in the season, I don't know how easy it will be to correct that problem, but you definitely got to do something about that. And Kansas City is not looking like the Kansas City of old. Kansas City is looking very regular right now. It's like before the season, you would think that if Patrick Mahomes had the ball, down late in the fourth quarter to make a comeback drive, you'd almost guarantee he could do it. Now, I don't think you can make that guarantee. Now, no one's scared of Kansas City this season. Kansas City is beatable in every game they play. And it's Travis, he's getting older. I think he's the oldest starting tight end in the league. The wide receivers are terrible. They suck. And it's not looking good for them. Can they make a comeback next year? Absolutely. Get it together. But this year, Kansas City fans, they might need to be worried. I don't think it's going to be an easy stretch through the playoffs. You're likely going to have to go into Baltimore or who else is going to make it? Who else? I don't even know who else. Who's in the North? Who's winning in the North right now? It's so hard to know. Oh, Baltimore. Baltimore. That's going to be a hard thing to do. So I think both.
Yeah, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Cleveland, Kansas City,
Cleveland.
Miami.
Oh, I forgot about Miami. Yeah,
Miami. Yeah,
and right now.
And I think any of those teams. I'm not too sure about Jacksonville, but any of those other teams you just named, they could definitely beat the Chiefs. They're no one's scared of them right now. No one should be scared of them right now. The offense is looking anemic compared to past seasons. So I think both fan bases should equally be worried. And we're definitely not getting a repeat Super Bowl from last year. That's definitely not happening. Whether it's only one of them or both of them, but we may get one of them, but we definitely ain't getting both of them. And right now, it's not looking like we'll get either one. So I say. So
if we were to get one, which one do you think would get in?
Philly. I think Philly got a better. I have more, even though the defense sucks. I got better faith in Philly right now than I do Kansas City. If they can somehow get past the Cowboys, I mean that's a big getting past the 49ers and the Cowboys. That's really the only competition. I mean that's hell of a competition, but it's the only competition. I feel like in the AFC North, it's loaded. Kansas City got to get by all the teams just named. Really in the NFC, you only got to worry about Dallas and 49ers, so it'd be easier for them.
Harmon.
Yeah, unlike my counterpart, I'm going to pick a team like everybody else did. And I picked the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs fan base needs to be the most worried. And it's a couple different levels to it as to why. But one of the biggest levels of it is the Chiefs don't have no talent on their team except for Patrick Mahomes at this point. And their running back.
And Kelsey.
But Kelsey's so iffy now. You don't know what you're going to get from him. But you can double down on Kelsey. Who you scared of on their wide receiver core?
Nobody.
So you double down on Kelsey and take Pacheco out the run game. It's pretty much a wrap. The Chiefs.
What's the rookie's name, Mark? Number 4.
Yeah, I forget what his name is.
Rashee Rice.
Right. Not scared of him. The Chiefs are wasting Patrick. They're about to be in that frame of wasting Patrick Mahomes' talent. And the reason I say you have to look at them be more worried is because the Eagles have the talent there. It's just not happening right now. If the Eagles all of a sudden get their mojo back on offense, their defense will automatically start to play better. Marcus, you said their defense sucks. Their defense does suck. But their offense scored nothing on Dallas. but 2 field goals, and Dallas's defense had been struggling a little bit. We just gave up 30 some points to Seattle the week before. And Seattle does not have as a talented offense as Philly does. So the Philly's biggest issue is their offense right now. But if I had to pick a fan base who needs to be more worried, it's going to be Kansas City, not for just this year, but what y'all going to do next year? Because they better get some better talent around Patrick Mahomes. He's a great quarterback and MVP quarterback, but he still needs some legit weapons besides Kelsey. You take Kelsey out the game, or if Kelsey's out of that game, he's banged up. There's nobody on that offense that scares you. So
it's funny is for years we've been saying that about Lamar. We've been saying that now. We're saying
now
about
it's flipped to Kansas City. Yeah,
Kansas City.
I mean, Lamar got some talent at the wide receiver spot, like we've been calling for, and look what happened. Look what's happening. Okay, I think it goes back to they should never let Tyreek Hill go. You should have valued that dude a little more.
Or at a minimum, for another, at least somebody, another number one.
They should,
another number one or something.
They ought to be ashamed of themselves for letting DeAndre Hopkins go to Tennessee.
That too. There's no way they should have let him go to Tennessee. They should have got something that was halfway legit. It's like what they do?
Because I think it would be a whole different story if DeAndre Hopkins. Whole different story.
We wouldn't be having this conversation. I bet we definitely wouldn't be having it if Tyreek Hill was still there.
Darren, that's a good point. That is very true. Very true.
Yeah,
and you do it by yourself. It is a team game.
You know what's so funny now? Just real quick, the commentators now in the NFL world, now you're punished if you have legit receivers or legit talent around you and you're an elite quarterback. Now they punish you for it. Well, you got this, you got that. What? Wait a minute. What does that have to do with it?
That's what you're supposed to have.
Exactly.
I mean, but that's stupid. I mean, Montana had Rice, Terry Bradshaw had Terry Bradshaw had what's the Swan, the other dude.
Hickman had Michael Irvin. Exactly.
Right. But now the narrative is they try to take away from these quarterbacks if they have talent around them.
Somebody got to catch the ball. Somebody got
to.
The problem was last year Kansas City did it without really anybody.
Yeah, all the receivers kind of they did it without anybody. But again, even Brady had lost. Even though he didn't win the Super Bowl that year. But he had him. But you can't. You just can't. Too. Yeah, he did always have Gronk. You got to put elite. You got to put elite talent. You got to have at least one. You may not have it across the boards, but you got to have at least one.
All right, good job, fellas.
He had his defense.
That's not what he said. He said about defense.
That's probably the only one.
I mean, when you had a defense like that, you really ain't need too much from your offense.
True.
All right. Next hot topic is: did the referees get it right? Should Kadarius Toney have been called offsides on this touchdown play? So, for those who don't know, Kansas City had a play where Kadarius Toney was obviously and erroneously offsides. They let the play run. The tight end caught the ball, pitched it back to Kadarius Toney, who was lollygagging on the play, and ran it in for a touchdown. And the whole play was called back. Quarterback went nuts. The coach started cursing, and then everybody's going crazy against Kansas City, and they end up losing. So, should the referee have swallowed his whistle and not thrown that flag, or was he right in calling Kadarius Toney offsides? Brian, we'll start this one off with Marcus.
Brian, do you really think you had to explain? I mean, our audience is small anyway. Anybody who's watching this show, they should already know what the hell happened. Come on.
Just a question.
You have to recap. It's the throw to the subject.
So did the referees get it right? I'm going to say yes, they got it right. Yes, they absolutely 100% got it right. If you look at it, he was offside. He was definitely offside. I mean, he was ahead of everybody. Everybody. His foot was on that line. He ahead of everybody. The biggest argument the argument that Patrick Mahomes had is that usually they never call it, and I never noticed that they rarely ever call offsides on the offense, and that the referee should have been like, "Hey, Kadarius, offsides." But I've been listening to the commentators all week. What Kadarius Toney should have done was look at the ref and be like, "Hey, ref, am I good?" And the ref would have said, "Get back." But to sit there and say that the ref shouldn't have called it is ridiculous. It is, and I will say, and I will always say that you should play well enough where you can't leave it in the ref's hands. And they didn't play well enough that they had to leave it in the ref's hands. If you do what you're supposed to do and you win outright, it shouldn't matter what the refs call. I mean, unless the refs are out there just calling just totally, out of the way crazy stuff. But that wasn't the case here. I think Mahomes, he just blew up. It's what they say, like in a relationship, and you married guys. Well, you married guy. Probably can relate to this. That if your wife is arguing with you about the dishes you didn't put away, it's not really about the dishes. It's really about something bigger. It's just that's what the argument has started about. And him complaining about the refs calling that play is not really about Kadarius Toney being offsides. It's about a much bigger picture. He's frustrated. His receivers suck. They drop him passes. They're not what they used to being. That's what his whole blow up was about. It has nothing to do with that. That was just a gateway into the argument. That's what you should be instead of arguing with the ref and I don't know why you're complaining to Josh Allen at the end of the game. Like, hey, he cares. He just won the game. What does he care? Like he's never had any calls, against him that he wish he would have had back. It's just it was totally right, and they need to start complaining and get this stuff together. And just like I said, you never should have been in a situation where it was up to the refs, and it won't be a problem. But yes, it was the correct call.
Herman, was it the correct call?
I 1,000% agree with Marcus, and I'm gonna take you back a little bit, okay? Marcus, you hit it right on the head. Kadarius Toney should have checked with the refs, okay? And this is how basic football that is. I coached football. I coached pound football, okay? And I coached wide receivers. And you coach your kids to come up to the line and check with the ref. It's the most basic thing when it comes to a wide receiver. That and look at the ball to make sure you don't false start, okay? Because you're out wide or whatever. You're out there from the ball. It goes to me, and I don't want to dog the dude, but it goes towards, in my opinion, his professionalism and his mentality. Okay, you have to stay. Kadarius Toney.
Okay.
You have to stay mentally focused when you play football, and that's a mental thing. I think it shows you that he probably never checks with the ref. He probably never does it. So they try to show a footage of him supposedly checking with the ref too, and I'm like that. As he's walking to the line, he looks over at the ref, gives a thumbs up, and then proceeds to step up offsides. That's not how you check with the ref. That's not how you do it. You come up to the line, put your foot at the line, turn and check with the ref, and he's going to tell you whether you need to back up and move forward. This dude was offsides that Buffalo could have got called for 12 men on the field, okay? Period. I told that. But they definitely are right. You can't just say, this isn't like pass interference where it's more of a judgment call, because pass interference, we all know, is pretty much kind of a judgment thing, and you kind of say, well, maybe he didn't mug him as much as I think he did. But the dude He's blocking the ball. The ref can't even see the ball. Come on, man. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. They had to call this. They just had to. So, in my opinion, yes, they got it right. You cannot overlook this type of penalty. I mean, you can't ask referees, don't call that. You can't do it.
Mark, do you agree or you disagree?
I also agree on everything that Marcus and Herman have said. Kadarius never looked over at the ref. That's something you taught at a young age, as far as when you first start playing, is to look over the ref to make sure that you identify that you're not over the ball. So you're correct. But not only that, this call has been more emphasis this year than anything else. They've been calling this a lot so far this season. I think more defensive coaches are complaining about the offense having more advantages. This was one thing that they talked about, and about the refs not calling offensive offsides more, and they've been calling it more this year. So yeah, it was a correct call. Tony has to go back to what he first started learning when he became a wide receiver, and that was checking with the refs just to make sure that he is not over the line of scrimmage. But yeah, it's a correct call. It is.
Basic fundamentals.
Yeah, I disagree with you guys.
This dude.
Nah, I'm just playing. There's no way in hell that they should not have called that play. The biggest and most egregious part of the whole situation is the Bama is looking at the ball. He's looking at it. He can see it. Dog, how you looking at the ball and still offsides? I don't get it. I do not get it. He may have looked that way, but that Bama was this way the whole time, looking dead at the ball.
Oh yeah.
So far offsides is ridiculous. And I don't know what Patrick Mahomes wants the ref to do. Why he's supposed to swallow his whistle and not say anything while you egregiously break the rules on the play just because there's a little bit of time left in the game. That has nothing to do with anything. And then he's on the sidelines going crazy. And I thought he was trying to fight the head coach. But apparently there was a ref, I guess, past him or something that he was yelling at.
Yeah.
But it looked like
he was going after one of the coaches too.
Yeah, it looked like he was yelling at one of the coaches. Because I'm like, the dog, okay, that play was over. Didn't you have another play after that? So how are you still mad? I don't understand. But it all basically came to a head. Like Marcus said, he's mad because his receivers can't catch. He only has a tight end that he can trust. His running back was out, and what's his name? Clyde Edwards-Helaire was garbage, wasn't doing nothing, and he knew they were going to lose this game. His frustrations came out because he knew he was going to lose this game, and that was really their only chance. Only chance to win that one play. But yeah, there was no question that he was offsides. He should have been flagged, and you need to be smarter. And not only that, he lollygagged on the play.
He did.
He lollygagged on the play.
That's the
play was going.
That's the only reason he was in position to catch the ball.
Yeah, because exactly, Marcus.
He was looking down at his pants or something, and then the ball came.
All I know it wasn't. He just got lucky that Travis did try to come up with a great play, and it was a great play on Travis's part. But next time, Travis, just keep the ball, get down at the one, and try to run it in.
And that's why I said it goes to show his professionalism. He was offsides, and then he was just lagging down the field on that play.
He could
have been running the block.
Like Brown said, he was so far ahead of the ball. And looking at it, like he could have took a selfie with the ball.
Yeah.
But the argument,
and you've been playing football your whole life. How can you do? I don't understand.
The thing that gets me is the argument that people are like, "Oh, they just shouldn't have called it." Like, no, it's not like it was close. Like they could have actually said, "All right, we're gonna give you the way." He was beside the ball, like you said. He was blocking the view of the refs. They couldn't even see the ball.
Yes.
He had no choice but to call that. That's crazy.
So the delay game crew all agree. That is amazing. All right, fellas, we've been talking a lot. Let's get into these games. The first game we're going to talk about was a Thursday nighter. The Patriots against the Steelers. The Patriots won 21-18 Thursday night. Their offense put up 303 yards on 55 plays. Both teams threw one pick, and both quarterbacks got sacked twice. Trubisky's average yard per pass was 4 yards. We'll start out with Marcus. Marcus, who did you pick in this game?
You know, I picked the Steelers. I thought there's no way that the lowly Patriots were gonna.
You gonna put that hat on? Take the hat off, boy.
It's gonna be on for a long time too.
I didn't think there was any way that the lowly Patriots were gonna beat the Steelers. I thought the Steelers were red hot. I should have known better what Herman called him, Trash Biscuit. Mitch Trash Biscuit in there. It was just a.
What'd you say, Trash Biscuit?
Yeah. Mitch Trash Biscuit was in there. It was just a. It was just a crazy game. You know, that's 2 in a row that the Steelers have lost to 2-win teams.
Bad team.
Very bad teams at home. I picked the Steelers, and I was definitely wrong on that
one. Mark,
is it too late for me to change?
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit.
Mitch Trubisky was stiff. He was tentative. I mean, he threw in triple coverage. He threw 2 interceptions. Actually, they got dropped. One got dropped, one got called back. You know, they fell behind 21-3. I thought it was kudos for them to come back on the game, but man, I mean, they in trouble, man. And this team is not really designed to come back on people. So I was surprised that they were able to do that, to be honest with you. They ended up making it close. But the Dolphins almost blew this game out on the chances they had on it. But this is the 4th straight game where they scored under 20 points. I took the Steelers, and I got it wrong.
Did you say the Dolphins or the Patriots?
These are the Dolphins.
The Patriots.
Oh,
okay. He making up games in his head.
He predicted who they're gonna lose to in the future.
No,
they play like that. They play like they were the Dolphins against us.
They look like the Dolphins against y'all. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Triplet, who did you have?
Yeah, obviously I had this one wrong too. And I'm thinking back to myself now, Marcus, and I'm like, why did I pick the Steelers knowing Trash Biscuit was playing? Man, I'm not going to talk much about this game. I picked the Steelers. I got this wrong. That should not be in the NFL, period. Okay? Just period. This is what pisses me off, about the NFL. These players who get consistent chances over and over and over again just to prove how bad they are. That's just period. Go ahead. Take a shine.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh man, fellas, when I turned this game on Thursday and Zappy was just like Tom Brady reincarnated out there. I mean, slayed it. I mean, Zeke when he was like a rookie, just running and catching the ball and scoring touchdowns. I mean, it was just amazing. And like Herman said, Trash Biscuit, oh my God, that dude was scared. Mark said like he was stiff. Hey, you're right. He was not reading the defenses. I don't know what he was doing. It was so embarrassing. How are you a number 1 draft pick with the Bears and be this bad? How? It doesn't make sense. I don't know what practice y'all did or if y'all didn't let them practice, but I mean, I felt bad for Tomlin in this game, to be honest with you. They couldn't run the ball because the defense wasn't letting them. Trubisky just couldn't hit the side of a barn if you gave him $1 million. But it was an entertaining game, man. I'm glad the Patriots won, and I'm glad I didn't have to wear the other hat. So, all right.
Really? I forgot that. Oh my gosh. He went before Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bruh. Who was the GM for the Bears when they did that?
He should never be hired again.
Give me line. Oh yeah,
he better not ever have another. Yeah, huh? Man, he set that franchise back like 20 years off.
All right, in this game we're going to talk about are the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills pulled out a nail biter, 20-17, beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead. The biggest difference in this game was the Chiefs turned the ball over twice, and they were penalized 7 times for 45 yards, including the infamous Kadarius Toney penalty. The Bills also ran the ball pretty well. They got 118 yards on 28 tries, and they did hold time of possession 35 minutes and 21 seconds to 24 minutes and 39 seconds. We will start this one off with let's start this off with Herman. Herman, who'd you have?
Well, yeah, the Chiefs in this one. You know, I figured Chiefs at home. Buffalo had Buffalo's still struggling, but the Chiefs, man. I just don't have no words right now because, like I said, the quarterback's frustrated with everything. He only has Travis Kelce for his wide receiver, and if you shut that down or contain him, they're just not a threat on offense. And the sad thing is their defense has been playing good.
Best defense they had is Mahomes been it.
Yes.
Exactly, and now the offense ain't working. So it's crazy. So yeah, I think the Chiefs. I got this one wrong. Obviously, we can see from the hat.
Mark, who did you have? And you can talk slow.
I took the Chiefs in this one. The Bills went up 14-0, and he was like, "Oh man, they about to tear the Chiefs up." Then Josh Allen threw the interception, even though he made some other magical plays, but he threw the interception, allowed him to get back in the game, and the Chiefs made a game out of it. But yeah, it was entertaining. He had a nice run. That run that he made and scored on. He dragged a couple of defensive players with him. But I took the Chiefs, man. I didn't think that the Bills would pull it out, but they did. I took the Chiefs.
Marcus,
of course, yeah, I also took the Chiefs. Like Mark just said, Buffalo's just about 14-0. And the Chiefs, they can't keep doing that. They've been doing that all season, playing from behind. It's just not working for them, man. The offense really has to get going. The offense has been anemic, not good at all this year. And you got a great defense, but now your offense want to act up. It's just weird how things switch around. And they won years without a defense and just good offense. And now they got a good defense, and that's a good offense. They can't win. But yeah, I picked the Chiefs and I was wrong.
Gentlemen. Oh my. When will y'all learn? When will you learn? Listen to the professor, okay? If y'all pick after I pick, just go with my pick. Don't go with your gut. Just pick what I pick because I won't have to wear this hat ever again. Y'all can stop me from wearing this hat. I'm telling you. But it was a good game. Man, I thought that Buffalo really was the better team for the most part. Like Mark said, he threw that pick and let Kansas City back in this game, but it just seemed like it was too much effort and too much work for Kansas City just to get first downs. I mean, it was just a struggle the whole game for them, and the frustration just blew up at the end. So, Buffalo, you did good, but you should have did better. I'll be there every week.
That's a wolf.
But whenever you guys are ready, when I get to the pick section, pay attention, okay? Follow me.
real quick.
Absolutely.
That coach in combination in Chicago was Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. That's who they were. Okay. That's who was in Chicago.
Yeah, Darian said it was Ryan Pace.
Yeah.
To piggyback on what you just said, Brian, and it's been like the all season. It seems like the Chiefs struggle on offense to get first downs, to get plays. It seems like Patrick Mahomes is just trying to do it all by himself. He's playing what we accused Josh Allen of doing, playing hero ball. Playing hero ball.
The only difference is he has no choice. He has no choice. Josh Allen was just doing it because Josh Allen thought he was the best thing. He's doing it because there's nobody else. There's nobody else. He goes back, he looks for the play, and nobody's there. Nobody's open. Everybody's covered, and you can't keep throwing it to your tight end every play. So, all right, let's get to the next game. This was the Broncos at the Chargers. The Broncos defense dominated this game as the Broncos won comfortably 27-7. The Chargers offense was 0 for 12 on third down and 1 for 6 on fourth down. They also gave up a pick, a fumble, 6 sacks, and they lost their starting quarterback. I'll go first on this one. I picked the Chargers. I smoked crack. I apologize. I will not pick the Chargers ever again.
Well, that's easy to say now. That's easy to say now. I told you. I tried to tell you.
Well, go ahead, Marcus. Explain to me why I was wrong.
You was wrong because of two people, Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore. That's why you were wrong. I picked the Broncos, and the Broncos have been hot. I think they lost the last one. I forget who they lost the last one, but they've been hot.
They haven't lost, did they?
They lost the last one.
The last one before this game they did.
Okay.
But before that, I think they're on a 5-game winning streak. So they've won like the last 6 out of 7 games. And just the Chargers, you can tell the Chargers have been going downhill. I mean, their season has been over. It doesn't even matter if Herbert is there or not. This season has been over. Coaches are going to be fired in the season. They're going to do a whole rebuild. To me, this is one of the easiest picks. And actually, the only one I got right this week. This is the easiest pick, the pick. So, I picked the Broncos, and of course, I was right.
Mark, who did you have?
Well, thanks to me, Brian, you don't have to wear the cap because I took the Chargers too. I mean, this was a bad pick week for me. It started out with that first Steelers game, but Russell Wilson, and the Broncos put themselves back in the playoff picture with this win. As you say, the Chargers continue on going down further and further down the rails off on this team with the injury to Herbert. It's pretty much they're going to be dead bottom. You touched on a couple of the stats. The 0 for 15 on third downs, the 1 and 6 on fourth down. But the Chargers committed 2 turnovers. Their offensive line, they allowed 6 sacks. They're trash. That offensive line need to get fixed. But I'm with you. I took the Chargers, Brian, and I was wrong.
All right, Herman, finish it up for us.
Yep. Just like Marcus said, there's one reason why I didn't pick the Chargers, and that's Kellen Moore. Okay. Kellen Moore the Chargers season was over the minute they hired Kellen Moore in the office. Period.
I disagree with that. It was over the minute they didn't fire Brandon Staley.
No, it was over. Like Mark just said, their offensive line is terrible. But you know what makes their offensive line even worse? Them long, slow developing plays by Kellen Moore. They take forever to develop. Justin Herbert was sacked 4 times. Austin Eckler had 10 carries for 51 yards. He was averaging 5.1 yards a carry, and he only got 10 carries. This is classic Kellen Moore stamp on this offense. He has destroyed the offense. At least when he wasn't there, the offense was scoring, and then the defense was bad. Now the offense is bad, and the defense don't stand a chance. I will never pick the Chargers if we pick them anymore, ever again. I won't pick them next year. We picking them. We know who I won't be picking. I don't care who they playing. I'm not picking them. So I picked the Broncos. Got this one right.
So Herman, here's what's going to happen. They're going to fire Staley and let Kellen Moore be the interim head coach.
It's going to be worse, man. That place will be on fire.
What would be the point of firing him now? The season's already over. You have to just go ahead and ride it out. You should have fired him. You should have fired him a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, now the quarterback is gone. What's the difference? What more damage can you do?
Yeah.
Exactly. You might as well just get the highest draft pick you can possibly get. Because you might mess around, get an interim coach who inspires the team, and then they start winning. So, yeah, get your draft pick.
All right, so now we're getting to the nitty-gritty of this week.
Oh yeah.
One of the best games I've ever seen in life.
I doubt that.
Yeah. I'm being a little extra.
Be extra. It don't matter.
The Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys. As expected, the Cowboys crushed the Eagles Sunday night in Arlington, Texas. 33-13. The Cowboys offense put up 394 yards on 74 plays. The defense got 3 fumbles and a sack. The Cowboys' red zone offense was 3 for 3, and the Eagles were 0 for 1.
You're doing a whole lot of stat reading here, sir.
I am doing a lot of stat reading. I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm sorry. So, Mark, who did you have in this game?
I took the Eagles, man. And you know what? This Eagles team is starting to look like they are really missing their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. This game showed it. There were no offensive touchdowns. They've been outscored the last 2 games by 75 to 20, 75 to 32. The last 2 games. They dropped down to 5th seed, so they in potential of not having a home game for the playoffs. So this was a bad loss if you was an Eagles fan. I feel for you. I can't talk too much myself, so I took the Eagles.
Wait, they dropped all the way down to the 5th? I thought they were still tied.
The Cowboys and the Eagles switch.
Yeah,
They
Dallas
dropped.
actually has the tiebreaker right now.
Why? Because of division? Because of conference games?
Divisional record.
Just the division, our division. Because the Eagles haven't played the Giants twice yet.
Right.
All right, Marcus, who'd you have?
Yeah, I picked the Eagles, but it was pretty evident from the beginning of the game that I was going to be wrong. Cowboys by the first half had jumped out to a 24-6 lead, and you just in no way felt like the Eagles were going to make a comeback at all. It seemed like the Cowboys were pretty much doing whatever they wanted to do on the field. I give it to their offense. It's definitely looking like it's going 100 miles an hour. But yeah, I picked the Eagles, and I was wrong.
Yeah, you were definitely wrong, Marcus, and you did that picking out of spite.
First of all, I didn't pick out of spite.
You knew the Cowboys were the better team.
I did not know that.
You did.
I did not know that.
In your mind, you knew.
No,
in your heart, you wished. But in your mind, you knew.
Don't be hitting me with this soliloquy.
Because you knew me and Herbert was going to go off when we won. You knew this was going to happen. You knew it. And it is happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my God. What a Sunday night it was.
Man, that was Sunday. That was like 4 days ago.
Yeah, I didn't go to sleep, so I was up half the night. And you know what I was listening to?
For a game that's not even in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know what I was listening to? I was listening to Philadelphia radio. Philadelphia radio is what I chose to listen to. They already fired everybody. The GM, the coach, the quarterback, all of them got to go. They are heated, and I love it. It was a great game though. But honestly, the Cowboys, you knew were the better team, and they played like the better team this particular time. Not only that, but you got to give it to my kicker, a 60-yarder and a 59-yarder in the same game, setting an NFL record. Got to give it up. But it was fantastic. The defense pitched in. The only faux pas was Dak tried to do a little too much on that one play, which was open for a touchdown. But he did get sacked and he did fumble, which gave the defense a touchdown, which was more than what the offense of the Eagles scored. So
spell faux pas, Bama. Spell faux pas.
I don't know how.
Okay.
You got me on that one. You got me. Nonetheless, I picked the Cowboys as I always do, and I'm always right. Hence the hat. Herman, who did you have?
What hat? You ain't got no hat on.
Well, I had it on earlier. I can put it back on. I got it right here.
Put it back.
Okay.
Of course, we know I picked the better team. I mean, I don't know why Marcus, and I know why Marcus did it. Mark, I'm disappointed in you. I really am.
Me too.
Because Mark knew Dallas was the better team going into that game, but he just couldn't bear to pick us. He just couldn't bear to pick us. And Brian, you hit it on the head. The kicker, y'all just don't. For y'all non-Cowboys fans, y'all don't even realize the uproar that Cowboys Nation was in during the offseason because we did not have a kicker. It was like the talk of like, you have to get a kicker, sign a veteran kicker, this and that. Dallas knew exactly what they was doing. We have an all-pro kicker, not just a Pro Bowl kicker. He is an all-pro kicker.
Look, we have 56 minutes, okay? Don't be long.
This
Rookie
dude
of the year.
has
Rookie of the
ice
year.
in his veins, okay? This dude has ice in his veins. He was just one element. Every element of the Cowboys team was clicking on Sunday night. The offense, the defense, and the special teams. Dallas had no fear of Philly because they beat Philly in Philadelphia, and they let them have that game. Prior to this game, before it started Sunday night, they said they were talking about on the field Sunday night football. They said Philly players was all calm and they was just all about business. Nah, them Bamas was scared. They knew they were about to get handed to them, and they got it handed to them. They wasn't hyped, nothing. They was worried and scared. So yeah, I picked my Cowboys. I got it right. Dallas took care of business. Dallas is not worried about Philadelphia.
And don't never Herman. Tell him don't never call our DB an old man again.
Exactly.
Call him an old man one more time.
All right, the show needs to keep moving on. Let's go.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Let's go.
All right.
That's
The
the
next game we're going to talk about is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys.
We just talked about that game.
Oh, did we? Oh, I'm sorry.
We can talk about it again.
All right, we can talk about these last two little boring games on Monday night. Now, actually, both were pretty entertaining. The Tennessee Titans against the Miami Dolphins. Being down 27-13 with 4 minutes and 34 seconds left, the Titans were not concerned as they rallied back and beat the Dolphins 28-27 in regulation. Surprisingly, the Titans racked up 403 offensive yards on 63 plays. The defense turned over the Dolphins 3 times and sacked Tua 5 times. The Dolphins ran the ball well also. I'm sorry, the Dolphins did run the ball well, 158 yards on 31 tries, and they did hold time of possession 32 minutes to 24 seconds to 27 minutes and 36 seconds. But they were 2-5 in the red zone. Marcus, who'd you have in this game?
I picked the Dolphins, but I knew they was in trouble when at halftime Tennessee was up by 3. It was 10-7 going into halftime. And you can just tell that, especially once Tyreek Hill got hurt and went out, that the offense wasn't the same. The offense wasn't the same at all. And the Titans just hung in there and just hung in there and did what they had to do. I give it to them. They hung in there and did what they had to do. This is probably, for me, it was the best game of the weekend. They did what they had. They did what they had to do. And I would, and we mentioned this earlier, but I would just like to point out DeAndre Hopkins had 7 receptions for 124 yards and 1 touchdown and 12 total targets. Kansas City, I'll keep saying this. Yeah. You were dumb for letting them go to Tennessee. Dumb. So yeah, I picked the Dolphins and I was wrong.
Yeah, Marcus, I was with you. I also went with the Dolphins on this particular game. And the Dolphins were favored by 12.5. 12.5. And you were nervous when it was like they were up by 3. I knew this game was over when they went up by 14. I knew it was over. I said, 15. They went up by 15 because was it 14? I forgot. Anyway, the Dolphins went up because the Titans, they had to score, get a 2-point conversion, and then score. So they were up by 14. They were up by 14 because they won by 1. But I just knew this game was over. I think I turned on because it was the 2 doubleheaders. I think I started watching the Giants game after that. I had no clue. And then Derrick Henry, he ran the ball pretty well, but I mean, you just didn't think that Levis was going to be able to do anything against them. And Miami has a good defense. So I was honestly surprised and shocked. This was the biggest upset, I think, of the week.
Did Ramsey
What are you
play?
doing,
Was Ramsey playing?
You said Derrick Henry ran the ball. He didn't
Yes,
run,
Marcus,
run
he
the
was
ball.
playing.
Didn't he get a touchdown?
He got 2, but he only had like
He had
34
2
yards.
touchdowns, but he had like 34 yards. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but he got
I
2
guess if you count
touchdowns.
the
So, yeah,
touchdowns,
he had a
yeah,
good
okay.
game. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't be looking all crazy at me, Herman.
I don't know if that's a
Don't
good
make me
game.
put the professor hat back on, okay?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, now tell me who you picked.
I picked the Dolphins in this because I didn't even expect it to be close. Dolphins were at home, right? Yeah, Dolphins were at home.
Yes.
I fell asleep on the game, but I was watching and because I was watching for fantasy because I needed Tua not to do good, and he didn't do good. Thank you, Tua. Got me the number 1 seed in one of my leagues. But when Hill went down, I was like, uh-oh. It was kind of a wrap, even though he did come back and he wound up being second leading receiver, but it wasn't the same. That offense, and not to take away from Tua because he's been playing some phenomenal football, but when you don't have to worry about Tyreek on defense, it just is how you defend, and it makes it a whole lot easier to defend. And a hobbled Tyreek is easier to defend too. And so that's any offense is gonna struggle when you lose your top target like that most of the time. But I picked the Dolphins. I got this wrong. Hats off because, like you said, I didn't think he would be able to do that against Miami either. And Hopkins went off. So I got this wrong.
Hey, Herman, you think this heightens Tua's chance to be an MVP the way that they played after he didn't make it in?
He's not.
It heightens it, or
like makes it show that he's the most valuable player.
No,
you mean Tyreek?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek.
Okay, Tyreek.
Yeah, Tyreek.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say Tua. No way. Tyreek.
I'm sorry.
But if any year that Tyreek could win it, it would be this year because of the 2 front-running quarterbacks. They're not going to give it to Dallas. They're not going to give it to Dak because he wears a star on his helmet. They'll give it to Tyreek. So this will be a year he could win it.
So, Mark, were you the smart one?
No, I took the Dolphins. And man, I don't know about you all, but I didn't like these 2 games being on the same time, especially when they end up being 2 compelling games towards the end. Yeah. I didn't like that at all. But you're right. Everything you guys touched on. Will Levis, the Titans got a lot to build on with him, man. I like how that boy plays. I like him with the Titans. One other thing about Tyreek Hill, McDaniels probably need to sit him down and save him from himself. He's more concentrated on trying to get that 2,000 yard mark as far as receiver. But to me, it's most important for me to be playing after week 18. You need to sit him down and get him right because you end up losing him and you're going to lose a big part of your offense going into the playoff. So
Mark, the play he got hurt on though.
Different.
But the play he got hurt on was that tackle that they're
trying
to.
That hip drop.
No, it wasn't. It actually wasn't a hip drop. It was a.
Really? It was a horse collar.
It was a horse collar.
It was a hip drop.
It was a hip drop.
It was a horse collar.
Because they were talking about banning it.
It was a combination then.
If it was a horse collar, they would have called a flag. They would.
I don't think he had his hand. I don't think he had his hand in there.
He did.
It was definitely the hip drop.
Yeah. Look at
it. Then it was a combination of both. He should have got flagged.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, it should have been a flag then.
But
all right, last game we're going to talk about is the other Monday night game, the Packers versus the Giants. Green Bay lost to the Giants Monday night, 24-22. The Giants ran the ball very well, 209 yards on 34 attempts. And the Giants defense did its part. We got 2 sacks, 2 fumbles, and a pick. Herman, who'd you have in this game?
Yep, I had Green Bay in this game, and I'm going to make sure. Yeah, I had to make sure. I'm pretty sure I was going to pick the Giants. Yeah, and I got this one wrong. I didn't see much of this one because I was watching the Miami game and fell asleep on that one. But I think it's one of the ones where Green Bay came in, feeling themselves maybe a little bit too much. Jordan Love, or whatever Mark wants to call him, 39 passes for him. That's too much. Bring it down. Bring it down. He's still a quarterback. Bring it down. But
especially against the Giants.
Yeah. You should have been able to run all over them, and they kind of did. They had 123 rushing yards, combined rushing yards. But Love shouldn't be throwing that much with that patchwork offensive line too. So I had Packers at this wrong.
Yeah, I was just as wrong as you were, Herman, and I agree with you, man. Just way too many times Love was throwing that ball, and he was throwing deep a lot too. And I just didn't like the game plan that they had. I felt like they should have ran the ball. They had the better defense. They could have won this game with field goals against the Giants on the real. Saquon did have a very good game. They kind of let him get off a little bit, but I was very shocked to figure out that they got down the field in enough time to kick that winning field goal and beat them. They just play ugly. They just play ugly enough to keep the Giants around to get this dub. So I picked this wrong, and I don't know what's going on with the Packers. Mark, who did you have?
This game round out my losing week in games. There's no way I was going to take the Tommy DeVito led Giants against no Packers. There's no way. I just knew it. And then even so, I had Love on my fantasy because I think I had him and Herbert, and I said, oh man, he getting was the Giants. Oh man, he gonna tear him up. 29 points. No, I took the Giants and I lost terribly on this one.
We took the Packers.
So Marcus, who'd you have?
Yeah, I also took the Packers. Like Martin said, didn't expect no Tommy DeVito led New York Giants team to beat the Packers. Packers have been hot lately. I forget which one of y'all said it, but I think they probably looked past the Giants. I think they might have looked over the Giants. Came in a little bit too confident, thought they was going to win. But if they, what they got to give, man, just if the Giants, keep winning. This is a great story for Tommy DeVito, who still lives at home with his parents. His mama still makes his bed and washes his clothes for him.
And cooks his food.
Is expensive.
That's true. I mean, if you gotta look at a great story, that's all the Giants. That's all the Giants guys look forward to this year because they ain't gonna make the playoffs. So
y'all saw his what do you call it? His
agent.
Agent. Thank you. Yeah. Did you see him on the sidelines, Herman? He's like from I mean he's just the epitome.
That picture they keep putting on like from the Goodfellas or
from Goodfellas. I mean like epitome, man. I mean he's like Paisano.
Wow. Really?
Wow. Him and his dad are kissing each other on the cheek, and they keep doing this. And all right, Herman, they just eating it up. They had that dude on the NFL Network on
who was agent?
Yes. They talked to him on NFL Network. I was like, it's crazy. But enjoy it, Giants fans. You deserve it. All right, so I'm going to ask everybody how they did while Marcus adds up his total.
Whatever. I know my total. I was
4-2.
I was 1-5 this week. Terrible.
2-4.
Goose egg.
You didn't get none of them right?
I lost.
Wow.
Man, put the
that's
hat
the
on.
record. That's the first
put the Dunce hat on.
I lost. This is the first week I've lost. I have not picked not one game right.
I don't think anybody's ever done it in the history. Put the Dunce hat on. You got to wear the Dunce hat for the rest of the show.
Yeah. For the rest of the season, actually.
All right, fellas, we've been long-winded as usual, so let's get into these games coming up this week. Now, this week is special, too, because y'all know we got the 3 games on Saturday.
Yep.
But the first game we're going to talk about is a Thursday night game. We got the 5-8 Chargers against the 5-8 Raiders. The Raiders are actually giving up 3 points in this game, and that's probably because the Chargers just lost their quarterback. Let's see. Herman, who do you think is going to win?
The Raiders. I'm not picking the Chargers. I told y'all earlier I'm not picking the Chargers. And that's bad when I'm picking Josh McDaniels.
No, he's not there anymore.
That's right. He got fired. I'm true. Yeah. Yeah, all the more reason to pick the Raiders. Then I forgot Pierce was the interim coach. Yeah, give me the Raiders, definitely.
Herman, I agree with you. I'm going with the Raiders. Marcus, who you going with?
I'm just like Herman. You already know I'm never picking the Chargers as long as Brandon Staley's there. So I'm going with the Raiders by default. By default, I'm going with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Marcus, you going lone wolf? I mean, Mark, you going lone wolf?
The Raiders. No.
All right, we're all in accord. All right, next game we're going to talk about is the Vikings 7-6 at the Bengals 7-6. The Bengals giving up 4 in this one. Predictor has them riding high with the Bengals at 53%. Marcus, who you think is going to win?
I'm about to go with the Bengals on this one. I believe in the other JB, the backup JB. I don't know his name. I forget his name. But,
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning. So, oddly enough, you'd have asked me a couple weeks ago. I'm definitely picking the Vikings without the Burrow there. But whatever Jake Browning, whatever his name is, seems to be doing pretty good. So, I'm gonna ride with the Bengals on this one.
Mark,
is Justin Jefferson playing in this game?
I don't know.
He's supposed to be back.
He might be back. Yeah, from that chest injury, I think.
But who's his quarterback is what you got to ask. Who's starting?
What's the name? Mullins.
Mullins going to start.
Mullins starting? I'm taking the Vikings in this one, y'all. Taking the Vikings.
Mark, you a nut, man. Give me the Bengals, man. Browning is lighting it up and playing almost like Burrow. The Burrow ain't even there. Herman, who you got?
Rolling the Bengals, baby. Jake Browning is putting up points. He is now a fantasy starting quarterback. That's bad, I know, but still.
I'm gonna look good in the hat next week.
Yeah,
you mean the dust hat?
Yeah, he's good in colorful hats. All right, I don't know how, but somehow the Steelers ended up on our list again.
They playing
7-6 Steelers at the 7-6 Colts. Colts are giving up 2.5, but the Steelers actually get the prediction 56% over the Colts, even with Trubisky starting. Man, I can't watch that game, man. I'm going with Mustache and the Colts.
Minshew
mania. Give me the Colts. Herman, who you got?
I told y'all earlier, I'm not picking Trash Bisky. Is he's starting again, right?
He is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it don't matter even if he don't start. Give me the Colts.
Marcus.
Sorry, Mark.
Actually, I just changed it right now. I just kept thinking, I was like, oh, you know what? Mr. Trubisky playing against Gardner Minshew. I changed it right now as we speak. I'm going to go with the Colts. I can't pick the Steelers. I hate to say it, but I can't pick the Steelers. I got to go with the Colts.
Mark, get Mark's ready, music ready. Mark, who you got?
Hey, man, the talk all week was should they bench Trubisky and put in Mason Rudolph? I don't care who they put in there. Coach going to win it.
And me and Mark had a quick discussion about that. I think that Mason Rudolph could have won that game the other day.
No.
I think he could at least made a couple completions. I mean, been somewhat more competent than Trubisky.
No. I mean, they should give Mason Rudolph the start just for having to take that helmet to the head a couple years ago from Myles Garrett.
Y'all didn't see it was a one game earlier where they played and a helmet rolled off and Myles Garrett picked it up and they quickly grabbed it from him.
They was like, no, sir. No, sir.
All right, next game we got also. This is a Saturday game too, right?
No, I'll be done with
this the 8 p.m. game.
Yes.
Right. The 7-6 Broncos at the 9-4 Lions. The Lions are giving up 4 in this game, and the predictor has the Lions winning 60% of the time.
Damn, really?
Yep. In this particular game, I'm going to stick with the Lions. I think they get back on the winning track. I don't know why. I just don't feel this Broncos team, even though they've been playing pretty good, I'm just not feeling them for some particular reason. I'm going to go with the Lions. Mark, who do you got?
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm going with the home team, the Lions. I think we're gonna hear them roar. Give me the Lions.
Marcus.
I've been on the drinking the blue Kool-Aid all year on the Lions bandwagon, but these last couple of weeks, I feel like I got to slide off. I'm going to have to go with the Broncos. I feel like Lions defense is terrible. Broncos defense is very good. I just right now lost confidence, so I got to go with the Broncos.
And Herman.
With you, Marcus. I don't believe in the Lions. That Kool-Aid looked funny to me, and it's starting to look even more funny every week. I feel like the Broncos they riding high right now. Bronco country, let's ride.
All right. Next game we're going to talk about are the 10-3 Ravens at the 8-5 Jaguars. Coincidentally, the Ravens are giving up 3.5, and the predictor has the Ravens winning 64% of the time. Marcus, who do you think is going to win this one?
I agree with the predictor. I am taking the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think the Ravens are the hotter team. And the Jaguars, even though the quarterback started, it just seems like they're falling apart, and injuries are going to take a part of them. So give me the Ravens. Mark, who you got?
Ravens coming off I thought was the best game of last week, that overtime victory. Give me the Ravens.
And Herman.
Best team in the AFC right now. Give me the Ravens, no doubt.
All right. Last game we're going to talk about are the filthy Eagles at 10-3 against the Seahawks at 6-7. The Seahawks are actually giving up 4. The predictor has the Eagles winning 60% of the time. Herman, who do you think is going to win?
Okay, is Geno Smith? Is Geno Smith playing this game?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but you know what? I'm going to Seattle. Nobody thought that that the 49ers would drop 3 games in a row when they was riding high. They dropped games in a row. Philadelphia done ran into two teams that got it handed to them. I think they're going to lose a close one to Seattle. Give me Seattle.
Marcus.
I can't agree with Herman on this one. I think the Eagles they're going to get it together this week. They're going to come back, and I don't. First of all, the Seahawks aren't as good as Dallas and the 49ers, so we can just throw that right out there. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
You know, the Seahawks played the Niners pretty close for like 3 quarters, and then the Niners just kind of blew the doors off of that game. They played the Cowboys close, almost won that particular game. Seahawks are pretty good. I think Philly wins, but I hope the Seahawks win. Mark?
Yeah, the question was asked, is Geno starting?
Yeah, we
I
don't
don't
know.
think we know.
I don't.
It's too early to tell, probably. This is a Monday night. It's a Monday night game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Eagles. I think they'll bounce back on this one. I'm taking the Eagles.
How come Herman doesn't get the sound effect?
It went out.
Oh. Herman, I pray to see you in that black cap. I do, buddy.
Hey, like I said, nobody thought the 49ers would drop 3 in a row.
Yep. That is very true. All right, fellas. Good show as always. Ran over a little bit as always, but definitely was a good show. So let's have our final thoughts, and then we'll get on out of here. Anybody got something?
It's starting to look a lot like Christmas.
Supposed to keep going up. No, I got a thought. I'm tired of the talking heads in the media just saying something to get a headline.
You talking about Cam?
Yeah, I am talking about Cam. Stop giving opinions that aren't based on fact. Just stop it. You want to be relevant again, you get a little podcast or whatever. You're doing your thing, but you don't have to tear down tear down current players to do it. And that's not just him. It's all the talking heads. That's why I don't watch. Just like I ain't gonna keep going. Go ahead. Yeah.
and just like the talking heads, go ahead and move that goalpost again on the Cowboys. Now they're saying the Cowboys can only beat winning teams that have birds as emblems. So now we have to beat a winning team that doesn't have a bird as an emblem.
Bro, the whole talk on Monday was all about the Eagles. How
All right, man, can we just in the show?
Sorry, Mark. We know it's the best.
Long-winded ass.
I'm just saying, keep on moving that goalpost. We don't
Long-winded
mind.
ass.
We don't mind.
Yeah.
Marcus, you got anything to say?
No, I ain't got nothing.
All right, we'll get us out of here.
Before we leave, I want to encourage everyone to like, share, and subscribe, especially watching on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook in our Facebook group, The Leg Game. Catch us on Twitter/X at The Leg Game 3 and on Instagram at the official Delay of Game. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Peace. We out.
Peace.